Okay, we are live. I want to welcome everyone to our special edition to Collective Sessions, Healing America, the Reparations Illinois chapter, our special edition, the International House Conference. Tonight is a very special event tonight because we have our special guest joining us live all the way from Mama Africa, from Dakar, Senegal. King Mahdi is in the house, and he is joining us tonight to discuss his project, the African Project, reparations, and what Africa has to say about reparations for the American descendants of slaves. So welcome to the show. We also have Aaliyah Sarfraz tuning in, my co-host, and also the host of District 52 Chicago and Collective Sessions as well. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here with y'all.
Yes, we're glad that you are here. We're glad that we could put everything together with the different time zones and stuff like that, and it worked out just the way it was supposed to.
Right. We're used to it now. It's a global economy, a global community that we have and that we support. So we're used to it. We welcome it.
That's great. So tell me, so today is very special. Today's January the 1st. And Aaliyah reminded me that today is special in its own right because Abraham Lincoln in the Emancipation Proclamation, this is the day that it was signed into law. So this is a very special unification. And it's quite prevalent to what we're discussing historically and spiritually, to be honest with you. I think this has been ordained to happen the way it has gone down or gone up to happen. So, I mean, we have, you are our, Aaliyah, now correct me if I'm wrong, we're in our fifth chapter of the reparations.
Yes.
Fourth.
This is the fifth episode. We've had Justice Jahan, who's also been the Chief Justice of Gambia at some point, and the Honorable Philip Ruddock, and that was our first session. And then we've had Clifton Pierce and Mr. Cannon on a session, and we've also had Senator Roland Burris as well. So this is an addition to that. And we've also had our own collective sessions 52 on the matter as well. So that's being added to this series, which is very special. It's very special considering I'm based in Illinois. Candace is, I don't know, she may be traveling right now. I'm not sure if she's in Miami or not, but that's where she was last when we spoke.
Yeah, I'm in Miami, Florida. Yes.
And then,
Nice.
With you, King Mahdi, you were, when we last emailed you, you were in the USA, and then all of a sudden we find that you're in Dakar now. So I think this is just a platform to unite us all for this cause. And more so special because of the whole Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation, where if we time it, even the dates just sync and line up, if so to speak. So here we have a person who's now based in Africa, and I'm based in Illinois, which is I live maybe 4 hours away from Springfield maximum. So I think this is just a beautiful tying of the whole movement, so to speak.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. So would you tell us about Africa, your African project, and what you've been up to in Africa in regards to the diaspora and the exodus back to Africa?
So I've been here since 2014. My wife and I moved here with our son from actually Northeast Ohio at that time. And, we immediately, kind of hit the ground running when it came to being some sort of a first service here on the ground, participating locally, getting involved in community activities, particularly that, service the community that we were in, and that actually helped other African Americans when they were here on the ground in that community. And that gave us a sense of purpose on the ground. By the end of our first year here, we began actually creating docuseries that showed the life of some African Americans who were living here at the time, and other things that were close to us in our proximity. And so that was kind of the start of what is now turned into one of the, I would say, one of the largest export, investment, relocation, and tourism companies here in West Africa. And so over the last 6 years, we've been able to bring dozens and dozens of African Americans here to visit. We've been able to bring those people here to not just visit for tourism, but to actually get involved in the communities here, to take part in different activities, to be hands-on, from a more organic standpoint. And through that, we were able to also channel a considerable amount of that flow of people towards even bigger opportunities in investment, in land, in export, being able to export products from here, sell them or use them in their countries in the West or wherever they live. And so that exchange of commerce became more and more of a demand. Obviously, over the past 2 years, there's been a lot of interest for the diaspora towards the continent, particularly after the year of return in Ghana. And now, with what we've seen over the past year, with the situation in the US, with the pandemic, with also a lot of the political issues and the civil rights issues going on, now there's an even greater push for members of the diaspora to come back home, to get back to the continent, get back closer to their roots, be able to build economic structures here that can create sustainability for their families and communities, and essentially use that as a new foundation to build upon. So we know about the historic, traumatic foundation that many of us are built on or come out of or grown out of. But sometimes it requires a reset. Sometimes you gotta go home and start over. Right. It's like when you're young and you step out of the house too soon and you make those mistakes as a youth, right? We've all seen it, right? You run into those challenges. Sometimes you gotta go back home. You gotta get back to the house, take some time, regain your footing, get your economics together, and then you can begin to build something and then step out and grow out again. So that's what is going on now. And our Made in Africa project is, leading that particular community of individuals and providing the resources they need to do that.
Okay. So what do reparations mean to you? What does granting 40 acres and a mule to you in today's society signify? Do you believe that reparations should evolve as such in the USA?
I think that anybody who knows what has historically happened to the African people must see reparations as a necessary thing. It is not a question of, is it owed? It is not a question of, should we get it? It's not a question, on the ifs. The question is, where should it come from? How should it be allocated? and, what should be done with it when it's received. We have to find a common agenda as people of the African continent and people of the diaspora. We have to find a common code and all actually unite around it. And so when you look at what has happened to African Americans, when you look at what has happened to Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Europeans, those in South America, Brazil, which has the highest population of African people outside of the continent, we may have all experienced these things at different lengths of time or in different ways or through different culprits, if you will, right? But we've all experienced the same level of distress. And that goes for people of the continent as well. During the same 400 years that we were being sold around the world as slaves and forced to build the rest of the world, the people of the continent, our same brothers and sisters, cousins, relatives, were also under a similar and like form of distress. Maybe not perhaps on plantations, maybe not perhaps in certain regions being as traumatically distressed in some ways, but still colonized, still forced to abandon some of their own principles, still forced to give up their resources and their time and their energy and their work for the building of Europe and their colonial powers. So we must understand that this is a global thing for us. And we have to unite around the solution to that global wrong that has been done. So again, those who are in the diaspora, so for instance, African Americans, should not give up the fight for reparations. And those who are on the continent should also not give up the fight for reparations. What we should be doing is supporting each other to say that those of us who choose to come home, we still want reparations, or those of us who choose to stay in the West, we still want reparations, and we want it for the continent as well. So it should definitely be there, and it should definitely benefit both. And we should get in the mode now of planning, how do we utilize those reparations? Where will we, if the US gives the 50 plus million African Americans any monetary amount, we can just throw out a dollar amount, it doesn't matter. Where are you going to spend it? Are you going to send that money right back into Walmart? Are you going to put that money right back into the system of, mess right there in America? Or are we going to invest that into properties and buildings and opportunities and jobs for those on the continent and our diaspora communities around? So it has to be more discussion of where do we allocate those funds to if they come, or those resources to when they come.
That's good. What is the talk? Do you know of any reentry programs that are in place in Dakar, similar to Ghana, for the diaspora? And on the ground there, have you heard any talks about reparations from the community and the different tribes in Africa? And if so, what have you heard? Their thoughts about, yeah.
Absolutely. As an ambassador of the state of the African diaspora, our colleagues within SOAD have already drafted up several mandates for reparations on both ends. And so a lot of the work right now has been put into reclaiming the treasures of Africa that have been stolen outside of Africa. Some of those efforts have been successful already. such as the treasures that are being held in several European countries and museums and exhibits and things there. And so that's a part of the reparations bill and mandate that SOAD is working on right now, the State of the African Diaspora, the 6th region, ECO6. In addition, here on the ground, the way that the continent is contributing, even right now, to the reparations movement, maybe not all in concert with one another, or maybe not on a specific, agenda or plan. But I think that's being done through the allocation of land here on the continent, through the return. And obviously after the year of return last year, also several efforts throughout the continent from the African Union, also SOAD, who's creating, the State of the African Diaspora is creating smart cities throughout the continent. In Ghana, we've got one chief that just gave 5,000 acres of land to the diaspora. Our partners at Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program in Ghana is working with them right now to get people to come and take advantage of those opportunities. Here in Senegal, we just laid out our plans for our Al-Kabalan city here in Senegal. So we've got 1,200 acres that we're developing specifically for the diaspora to come and integrate and be able to live with and learn from the locals and build economic structures that we can all stand upon for generations. And you're seeing that more and more. I know they have some in Tanzania. They have at least one in Rwanda, I believe. But these types of land, sites are specifically for those of us coming home. And I think that those of us who are looking to invest in the continent, that's the first place to start. Purchase land. That's how you become a part of a community. We don't want to go back to the same ways that we have in the States. So come, purchase land, even if you're not able to build right away, purchase it, hold it, leave it to your children, if nothing else. But this is how we build sustainability. And we have a responsibility to our own reparations as well. So it's important to point out reparations is not something that we just wait for others to give us. Yes, we can fight for it. Yes, we let it be known that we want it and we deserve it and we're coming for it. But at the same time, we have to show self-reparation. We have to start investing our money into things that will build foundation for our futures. So, we have to, kind of take the shift that's happening right now and use that as a way to say, hey, look, we already invested in our land. Now, when the reparations come, right, we've got somewhere to take it to and build our own communities. We've got somewhere to take it to and build our own businesses. We've got somewhere to take it to and build our own schools and farms and manufacturing facilities and, our own tourist destinations. We don't have to always go to Miami. We don't always have to go to Vegas. Sorry, I know you're from Miami.
That's okay.
I lived there too.
Even though Miami's
personal. But we should be creating these things for ourselves so that for generations our grandkids can say, my parents built this city or my grandparents built this city for our family's legacy and generations to come. So this is the mentality we have to take on. And when those others that we're asking for reparations from see us take this kind of position, I think that they will even be, more easy to hold accountable for those reparations. I think, if anything, the excuse that they've had so far and that they probably are still counting on is, number one, you guys aren't going to fight us for it or hold us accountable for it. And number two, you guys probably don't know what to do with it anyway. So, that's kind of how we get pushed over. We've got to show some rise.
Self-love, yeah. We have to show that we have land of our own that we connect with spiritually.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what. Go ahead.
Yes, I was going to ask you something else, but go ahead. I'm
No,
listening.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that's what is respected in a global economy and world. Where's your backing? Where's your support? Where's your foundation? if okay, put it this way: if I'm wronging you, but you're in my care, right? You're in my care. I'm your only care. I'm your only security. I'm your only blanket. I'm your only, supervision. And I wrong you, then who do you go to? Right? You don't have anywhere to retreat to. You don't have anything to support you. You don't have anything behind you. When you see how Chinese people are respected in America, it's because Chinese people have right.
Yeah, they know they have China and an army and some missile. Yes.
Right. So when you see the way Arab people travel around the world and they can do business and own, it's because where they're from has power, has a backing. And it's the same for the Europeans, which is why they can go anywhere in the world and enact their own schemes, right? So this has to be for us as well. We've got to have our own backing, and it can't be the actual people and systems that are oppressing us.
Correct. So how would I go about becoming a citizen and becoming signing up with the Eco6 and what are the steps to take if I wanted to, which I'm planning to. And I think Aaliyah, we're all planning on coming to Africa and purchasing some land. So step by step, what would that look like?
So, it's different steps for different countries. Obviously, the continent is vast. 54 countries. Many of them have different stipulations for becoming citizens. Some of them are already offering citizenship to those of the diaspora who return and have either ancestry in their country. So if you can prove your ancestry is from there, I think those countries are like Sierra Leone, a couple different countries. There are also some countries where if you can prove you have a descendant from there, so if you can prove, hey, my great grandmother, was born in the Gambia, et cetera, they will give you citizenship right away on those terms. There are other countries in which, in many countries, if you are, an African American and you don't, have those specific provable ties, there's still path to citizenship through the normal ways. Some of those could be to live in a country a certain amount of years. Some as little as 3 to 5 years, others as much as 15 years. And some can be expedited if you own land in the country, if you are married to a local from the country, if you have businesses and other economic investments in those countries. So it's a very varying list of qualifications, but there are paths to citizenship in just about every African country, and definitely all the West African countries where many of us were taken from, some easier than others. But in the grand scope, there are programs like ours, like our Exodus Repatriation and Investment Club, that provide the ongoing assistance to actually go get those steps, in whichever country you decide. So if you're coming to Senegal, we can help you through those steps. If you're going to Ghana, if you're going to Gambia or Sierra Leone or other countries in West Africa, we have people on the ground in those different countries that can help you as well. It takes some patience. I definitely want to let it be known that there's almost, nowhere where it's going to happen immediately. All right. I think a lot of us, we have this, kind of energy where we want things really quickly, and that's that could be a good thing. But it's going to take some patience. These kind of legislations are still being drafted up. We have partners in the Gambia who are actually petitioning the authorities there and then the National Assembly there to actually give expedited citizenship to the returnees from the diaspora. And so that's going through different phases of approval in the government in the Gambia. And so again, these things are developing. This is all new. It's not something that's been in place for years and years that we can just say this is how it works all the time. And I think that it is really imperative to point out that the development of these things is based on our energy as we return. So many of us are returning already. There are thousands of returnees here on the ground right now. We work with and, support and communicate with many of them through, our position with the State of the African Diaspora and other, our Exodus Alliance partnerships, et cetera. But, we want to make sure that when we come back, our energy is on point. We want to make sure that we're contributing. We want to make sure that we are healing. We want to make sure that we are being supportive and being, of unifying stance, because that has a bearing on how these kind of legislations develop as well. So, for countries, and let's remember that these countries that we're asking for this from are only 50 years old, most of them. All right. Ghana, the country did not exist when we were stolen from here. Senegal, the country did not exist when we left this continent. Gambia did not exist. None of these countries existed. Okay. So let's remember that, first of all. Second of all, let's understand that these are countries who are only younger than most of our parents. All right. So for them to actually be able to create these kind of legislations and documents and relationships and, do the proper studies and research and things, this takes time. And I want my brothers and sisters that are coming to understand that, it's in the works. It is a topic of discussion throughout the continent right now. It is actually being legislated in a number of countries already. But by the time we all, unite around that type of a movement, I think it'll be very beneficial for us.
Okay. Elia?
So how much are Africans actually talking about the reparations?
Can you speak up a little bit?
How much are the Africans talking about reparations issue as we speak? Is it something that's a dead conversation or something that regularly appears? And how much do you feel will contribute to the healing of African Americans here that reside among the people?
So yes, like I said, that the conversation has definitely been circulating for a while here, and it's again something that we've all been contributing to through our relationship with the State of the African Diaspora. But as far as the healing, I think the healing is something that happens naturally here, but particularly for those who are actually looking for healing. So, we have to come with the healing energy, and it can be found here. So a lot of people, when we get here, and this is healing, medically, health-wise, this is healing mentally, healing spiritually. All of these things happen here on the ground from an organic standpoint. When you're around better things and better energy and better environment, you exude better, character and qualities yourself. And so we've got to put ourselves in the right communities and in the right situations to allow that healing to take place. And we have to be open to it. And we have to, really, put our backs against the wall, right? Hold ourselves accountable to healing, because this is necessary. We've definitely come from, traumatized environments and situations. And we cannot deny that, that has to be, kind of broken out of us. We've got to get rid of it. So the focus should always be healing first. And in that healing, you will find purpose. And with that purpose, you will find your path, and that path will take you on the other things that are necessary as far as economics and building and sustainability, et cetera. So yeah.
I mean, some people talk about healing injustices or undoing wrongs. Instead of giving land, they talk of giving grants. What's your position on that? What do you feel would
You said,
serve?
I'm sorry,
Could you speak up, son?
could you say that again?
What do you feel would serve the community more?
Which, you'd have to ask the whole question. I didn't hear you.
Some people talk about the giving of grants. Some people talk about just leveling the playing field of injustice, and that's enough. What do you feel is a proper addressing of reparations?
Okay, so you said between either giving grants of funds or just addressing it?
Addressing it, or injustices such as through, the criminal court system and, racial injustice, addressing that. And then we have, actual empowerment through giving land and other resources that may be available. Well, what do you feel like? I mean, some people also talk about funding HBCUs and so forth.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
I mean, I think all of those things are necessary, to be honest. But I think that it's even bigger than that, for us. So when you say, like, adjusting it in the criminal justice system, yeah, that's one factor of probably 50 or 100 different ways that we've been systematically taken advantage of. And yes, that's the issue of right now, but it's not the only issue. The criminal justice system probably kills just about as many of us as the food in America. You understand what I'm saying? We're oppressed from so many different angles. I mean, we can't leave out redlining and the districting and the way that they district our schools and the way that they put certain things into our communities and environments that they don't put in other people's environments and neighborhoods. Right? There's so many different things that contribute to the oppression. So, we definitely need to address it in the courts and criminal justice system. There are probably tens of thousands of us who are behind bars in the U.S. that probably don't deserve to be there, and maybe even more. And again, it's so much bigger than that because, again, the global effect of this is mammoth, right? We've got these problems in dozens of different countries around the world. And so what we have to really wrap our heads around is a larger, more united effort at this that can empower the entire global African community. Because once, and this is really what is likely the fear of those powers that be, is that we all actually ask for this together. Because one country can say, okay, we can give you guys a little bit and it's over. But it's like the same effect of the class action suit, right? So all of us have to get together. This has to be a class action thing. And so when we support programs like or administrations like the State of the African Diaspora, these kind of things are actually working on it from a global standpoint. And so their mandates are really focusing on how this can impact every person of African descent around the world to make sure that they are stabilized, repaired, and put in a better situation than they've been. So I think that, yes, like I say, the examples you gave are definitely necessary. Criminal justice needs reform and needs a complete overhaul and needs to pay back for what it has actually taken out of our communities over, decades of what they call law enforcement. Yes, we definitely need to, be acquiring land whether that's land that we get ourselves as a result or as a preparation for the reparations, or if it's land that's given to us by those who are given the reparations. So we, both are needed, and both we would accept. And also any other, financial economic support. Yes, we need our own colleges and universities. Yes, those HBCUs, but they need to be completely ours and in our control. It doesn't change to be an HBCU if we're still, facilitating the same, traumatic experiences that you would get anywhere else. So just saying that to say, we need it to actually be in our control. And that is reparations. So it's not just giving us something to use under your control. That's not repairing me. You're not repairing me to give me some money to build something that is still under your control, under your regulation, under your legislation, under your legal system, under your diploma system, to get into jobs that you're going to give me. You didn't repair me. You didn't. You understand what I'm saying? These things need to be ours. And so that's why we believe building them on the continent is the most productive way to do it. Because when you build on the continent, now we're building under our developing legal systems. And yes, they're young. And yes, they're, coming out of some traumatic experiences themselves. And yes, they are actually, having some challenges now as far as many would call corruption or loss or these different types of things. And yes, those things are being sought out and destroyed and cast out of these systems. We see it every day. So let's start investing in the systems that we have majority control over. Every 4 years, we go to the polls in the U.S. to vote for a bunch of their people to tell us what to do. and then why do we keep doing this to ourselves, right? It's the illusion of inclusion. So, we have to focus in a little, bigger, broader scope.
Do you feel that Kamala Harris and Biden are the best people to utilize for the reparations cause?
I feel like, Biden and Kamala Harris are doing what they get paid to do. They're politicians. They may be doing a good job of it. They may have good intentions. I don't know them. I don't have that, right to say if they can do it or not. But my position on it is that until we actually see it acted upon, they're all the same. So that, that's my position. Until we actually see steps being taken towards it, until we actually see, a pre-draft bill, until we actually see a meeting, a sit down, a conference on it, until we actually see action, they're all the same. So that's my position on it. I feel like they have a fresh start. They have the platform. They have the ear of the people and of our communities. So they definitely have the opportunity to be the different party. I can't tell you what's gonna happen, but I can tell you that until it happens, that we can't put all of our weight in it. We still have to be acting upon our own strategies and our own solutions while pushing and holding them accountable. And when they do, then we can be able to bring those resources together.
And how important was it for you to connect back with the roots of Africa? Do you feel that is something that every African descendant should strive for?
For me, it was of high importance. I was raised in a way that, that tells us that that's important. I was raised in that type of an environment. But I understand that most of us aren't. And do I believe that it's necessary? I think so. And I think that the continent, our motherland, is perhaps something that will call you when it's time for you to embrace it. not all of us are ready. Not all of us even know how to handle it. Not all of us understand why. So, the primary qualification is to actually be called. Um, Once you've been called, once it's in your heart that that's a place that's calling me, uh, at that point, the return is necessary. And so I think that now more than ever, our people are being called. And so for those people who feel like the continent has pulled at their heartstrings or attracted them in some way, or, reached out to their spirit, I say, come home.
It's beautiful. I have nothing to say, but that's gorgeous. Yes.
I think you just left us a little.
That's poetic. Very. Yes.
I mean, I'm observing, the possibility of a collapse economically here in the USA due to COVID-19. I mean, a lot of people are considering localizing themselves somewhere else and becoming, maybe you feel that this platform is something you want to talk more about when it comes to your Africa project. Is that something you would like to discuss tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're just here as a solution provider. And so there are many solutions to our global condition. We definitely support all the other efforts that are in motion. There are so many, productive ways that we can be repaired and we can be restored and that we can be, on a fair playing field in this global, world we're in. But if people choose the direction that we are offering, we offer what is called a lifetime membership to repatriation, investment consulting, and assistance here on the ground. For those who would like to have that type of support, they can always visit our website, madeinafricaproject.com. That's madeinafricaproject.com, and they can reach out to myself. I'm on social media at King RJ Mahdi. Again, we have several projects that we're developing here in Senegal and a couple other countries, repatriate cities. These are, towns that we're building, cities that we're building specifically for those of us who are coming home, so that we can have our own environment where we can develop and own land and we can actually build our resources collectively, not to isolate ourselves from the populations here, but to be inclusive and incorporate and actually, have some diversity so where we can learn, from those who are here on the ground and vice versa. And so, those types of projects are where, our folks should be really focusing their energy when these stimulus checks come, right? Don't just take them and throw them back into the same commercial capitalistic system in the U.S. that has bound us to, poverty in many places. Don't follow that same path that has been, eating at our wallets. Take that money and send it and purchase a plot of land. Send it and invest in a membership that's going to educate you and give you the research and the assistance that you may need to get out of that mess. We have to really start thinking strategic and thinking long term. I think once we have that mentality, then contact us and we'll be more than happy to, hold your hand through it. I mean, we understand it's a very challenging process. When we went through it, we had people who helped us, and so we see the difference between how easy it can be when somebody's there to help you versus how difficult it can be when there's no one there to help you. So, let's cross those bridges that have been built, and and it supports one another. It's a mutually beneficial relationship that we can all find productive.
Very well. Yeah, we will definitely be in contact with you, King Mahdi, because Aaliyah and we have some ideas that we definitely want to discuss with you. But we will be in touch with you. We'll give you a call and set up a conference call, and then we can discuss those in private. But yeah, I am on board for coming back to Africa and purchasing some land and getting into the community and being a help to the society out there as well.
Nice.
So I'm one of the ones that I think Africa has been tugging at my heart and calling me home, and purchasing some land there.
Right.
So,
even if you just make it a vacation home, it's it's still property, and property always appreciates. We can't forget that.
Right. So we will be in touch with you very soon, so we can go ahead and make our travel arrangements and get that together, so we can come out there and you can hold our hands. We can meet your beautiful wife and your child, right? Didn't you have a son or a daughter? Two kids.
Right.
And have some food out there too. I'm interested to going over there and checking out the different mom and pop restaurants and the cuisine. And
definitely
Africa.
Get you some cheb. Get you some cheb. Yeah.
What's that?
That's the jollof rice.
Oh, jollof rice. I heard of that. Yeah. If it's anything, from Miami, I have a lot of West Indian food. You've been here before, so the coconut rice and the peas and rice and the fish and the soup and the
Africa is where all those flavors come from. The Caribbean and even our brothers and sisters in the Afro-Latina communities. They put their own spin on what started here. So you'll definitely see the similarities.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited. Is there anything else that you want to share or say tonight, Aaliyah? Or
5 years ago, I was in Morocco, and I think this is really interesting. This is my own personal journey. I didn't know why I was called there, and then I do believe it. It was the spirit of Imam Hussein, and all of his lineage that sort of called me to Fez and all these other places, Rabat and so forth, and then I never thought I'd be discussing reparations on the same day in 5 years from now, and then just, working on, a cause that Abraham Lincoln wasn't able to fully finalize.
So are you Moroccan? Are you of Moroccan ancestry? No.
I'm actually Pakistani, but
okay. you have some of the Moroccan features. I thought maybe that was the lineage. It could be in there.
So interesting, because I went to Morocco, and even when my mom landed, she said, this looks like Karachi, which is, part of Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
Similarity in the architecture and the designs and all that tradition carries through all the way into the, Far East, if you think about it. So that's cool. Find it phenomenal. And then when I see some of the building structures that you're showcasing on your website, and your talks, it's very, very similar architecture and design to what is currently being built in Pakistan. And there's a port Gwadar that they want to make that may be bigger than something like Dubai might take off.
Nice.
In the future, maybe people will be going back to their homelands.
Right. And there's a space here for everybody. That's an important thing to understand, is that Africa is so vast that, pretty much every kind of, our people can find a space that is comfortable and welcoming and accommodating to somebody like you. I think it just takes a little research, understanding the landscape of where you're going, but there's definitely a part of this homeland for all of us.
Well, one of my cousins is actually married to a man from Senegal, so I think that's
wow, nice.
UK,
right? Intercontinental love. That's great.
Well, Thank you. We just wanted to sign off tonight on our special edition of Healing America, the Reparations Illinois chapter, our special edition, the International House Conference, with our special guest live from Dakar, Senegal, King Mahdi. And we really appreciate, Mahdi, why are you like? Mahdi, okay, King Mahdi.
RJ Mahdi.
RJ Mahdi.
Great. Like that. That's a very, very important name when it comes to.
I understand. I know the history. It's Islamic. I know that. And but my accent, my accent is different, just like everybody else's. But I'm glad we got that together. But it was really a pleasure having you on the show tonight. And I look forward to speaking with you again. And
thanks for having me.
This has been another successful chapter in our reparations docu-series. We want everybody to stay safe, be well, keep God first, and we will see you in our next session. Thank you. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.